You're ready to go.
Hello, everyone. I am so happy and pleased to be introducing our very first virtual meeting presentation. We owe a big thank you to our own Bob D'Almeida and also to Hewie Poplock, as they are the masters that made this available to us this evening. Hewie has been a speaker to us prior to this one, so I'm sure you will all enjoy his talk on audiobooks this evening. And you just received a complete description of his program this evening in your email that I sent you. And tonight, when the meeting's over, I want you to look at your screen and click on the thumbs up if you liked it. And then click on the subscribe button on YouTube so it'll be easier for you to get in next time. I hope that everything goes well. I think it will. I have all kinds of faith in both of them. So without further ado, Hewie, I will turn the program over to you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I am going to share my screen. And we're going to talk about audiobooks. Let me make this full screen. And we're ready to go. I'm Hewie Poplock. As Diane mentioned, I have been to your meetings. I believe this is the third or fourth time in which I've presented to your group. It's more fun driving there. However, I'm in Bradenton. I'm right down the road. So if I speak loud enough, you probably could hear me without the computer. Today, we're going to talk about audiobooks. While you're confined and quarantined, you're looking for things to do. And I decided to talk a little bit about audiobooks because this is a way in which you can pass the time and entertain yourself and learn about things around the world. So let's talk about audiobooks. Audiobooks are for people who hate reading and for those of us who love reading. That was a quote from Matthew Rubery. Thomas Edison created the first spoken word phonograph record in 1877. He predicted technology might one day allow books to be listened to, and I love this quote, with great profit and amusement by the lady or gentleman whose eyes and hands may be otherwise employed. 1932, the American Foundation for the Blind began creating books on vinyl records for war-blinded soldiers and blind civilians who couldn't read Braille. 1952, one of the record companies became the first company dedicated to selling spoken word records to the public. And as things have been evolving, the spoken book has mirrored the innovations in the music industry. Books on tape replaced vinyl audiobooks, then streaming superseded compact discs, and now smartphones are replacing everything. As the audiobook industry flourishes, so is the number of ways in which you can listen to audiobooks with apps for smartphones, iPads, desktops, and Kindles from Amazon, Google, and Apple, and everyone's competing for a chunk of the thriving sector. Most audiobooks are available to listen to on your smartphone or your tablet, as I mentioned, a smartwatch, your desktop, laptop. How you listen to audiobook depends upon mostly on which device you have and your access to apps on it. Both Apple and Android devices will allow you to access virtually every audiobook app. So you can carry it around with you wherever you go. The best place to find audiobooks, believe it or not, is in your library. When I first started putting together this presentation, I did it for a group in Orlando, and then I did it for a group here in the Manatee, Sarasota area. So I've highlighted their libraries, and then I did a presentation to a group out in Mesa, Arizona, And now we're doing it here in Sun City Center in Florida. So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about, showing some pictures from the various libraries, does pertain to you wherever you are. If you're a snowbird and you have a library card in whatever town you're from, or if you're in Sun City Center, I'm going to talk a little bit about where your library is, and if you don't have a card, you should get one. But if you're from anywheres up north and you have a library card, you can access that library through the internet and download and listen to audiobooks. Some of the more popular services that the libraries are using are shown here: Overdrive, Hoopla, Tumble Book Library. And this is from Seminole County, which is just north of Orlando. Here are some books that are available. Some of these are ebooks, but some of them are audio books as well. So not only can you get audiobooks from your library, you can also get ebooks if you'd rather read than listen. But we're talking about audiobooks on this presentation. Here is the Orange County, which is Orlando. And they again have, you can see in the top, they've got Overdrive, they've got Hoopla, so and RB Digital. So the same services a lot of the libraries subscribe to. Now they list only about 1,000 books, audiobooks, and we're going to talk a little bit about what you have available in Sun City Center, which is even a lot more than that. And here in Manatee County, we have Hoopla, we've got Overdrive, and we got RB Digital. Again, the same services are available through the library here. Sarasota has several different ones as well. And most of the libraries have some kind of tutorial, some kind of way for you to explain for you to how to download them, how many you can get, what you can do, and so on. You want to read the tutorial or follow it if it's a video and kind of get an idea of what they're talking about and how to go about doing it for your particular library. In Mesa, Arizona, which is in the Phoenix area, again, you see the same thing. There's RB Digital. They've got Tumble Book Cloud and Tumble Books, as well as some of the other ones. Getting help with your audiobooks from your library, there should be some information on some of these libraries about borrowing the titles in Overdrive from Android and Fire tablets, from Chromebook or for Chromebook, for your iOS, which is your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch, Windows 8 or 10, Windows 7 or a Mac computer. In other words, there is a lot of information to help you download the files, even in this time when the libraries physically are closed. You can still get them and get these audio books. Again, in the greater Phoenix area, they had RB Digital and the Cloud Library. Now, in your area, you're in Hillsborough County, and you're part of the Hillsborough County Library Cooperative. And so if you've got a card from anywhere in Hillsborough County, you can download either ebooks or audiobooks from Overdrive, Hoopla, RB Digital. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Flipster, they got Romance Cloud, My Own, which is personalized ebook reading for students. In other words, they've got a lot of, you've got a lot available for you. Now, looking on the website for Hillsborough County, look at the downloadable audiobooks and the numbers. Let's go a little closer on that. There's 58,000 audiobooks available through your library in Sun City Center. Just by having a card, you can go online and download any of the titles that are available. Now, there's probably limits to how many a month you can do or how many at one time. Every library is a little bit different, and each of the services are a little bit different as well. But and then once the libraries get back open, you can actually get some CDs. They've got about 20,000 audiobooks on CD, and then they also have some preloaded audiobooks and audio cassettes as well. So it's the South Shore Regional Library, which is part of the Hillsborough County Public Library Cooperative. And if you don't know where that is, I don't think I wrote down the address on here, but you should be able to find it. It is a library in Sun City Center. Now, if you don't want to do the library thing and you like to spend money, you can do that as well. You might not like to sign out books. You might like to build your own library or be able to look at them and save them and reread them and so on. There's some services out there that you subscribe to, and I'm going to explain. There are some differences in them. One of them is called Audible, and Amazon bought them a couple of years ago, and they give you 30 days of membership free, plus 1 audiobook and 2 Audible originals to get you started. And then once the 30 days is up, then you have to have a subscription. And then after that, you can have 3 titles a month and 1 audiobook and 2 Audible originals of your choice. There's easy exchanges. You don't like the audiobook, you can swap it for free anytime. You can cancel anytime. However, I understand you have to fulfill the entire month. They don't give you they don't prorate any months. But you can cancel at any time, and your audiobooks are yours to keep forever. And I say that because that's going to be a little bit different in the next one I talk about. But the Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, you even get some more. You get 2 books to get you started. And here's their page. Audible is $14.95 a month after the 30 days, and you can cancel, as I said, at any time. Audible is strictly audiobooks. That's all they have, but they have over 100,000 of them. Audible, similar to Netflix originals, offers original content exclusive just to them. So they have some books, audiobooks, that you can only get from Audible. And since Audible is owned by Amazon, you can listen to your audiobooks on your Echo. You can also listen to Audible books in a dozen different languages. You can even choose from abridged and unabridged versions. And there's the address at audible.com. Now, you can play Audible audiobooks on all iOS devices, iPads, iPhones, and Macs, all Android devices, Windows phones, which aren't around anymore, the Kindles, if you have a Kindle Fire, Kindle Oasis 8th and 9th generation, Paperwhite 8th generation, a SanDisk or a Creative MP3 player, Victor Reader System, a Braille Note and Apex Braille Note, Garmin and TomTom GPS devices, and Mac and Windows computers. So you can certainly listen to them on a lot. If you have their apps, I understand you can stop it on one device and go to the other device or another device and start from the same point you left off. You don't have to go searching for where you left off. Audible, during this time period where a lot of people are confined to their homes, have come out with something that they call the Start Listen. Most of the books that they have available for free, so you don't even have to set up, I believe, an account. So as long as the schools are closed, the kids everywhere can instantly, and we're all kids, can use it. So there's a lot of children's books, teenager books, but there's also a lot of the classics. So if you enjoy reading classics, you can get a feel for what it's like listening to audiobooks for free during this time when the kids are out of school and they are offering this for free. Now, there is another service out there called Scribed, Scribd, that's only $9.99 a month after the 30-day trial. So you could do one trial and then do the other one for the trial. They have unlimited audiobooks, and you can cancel at any time. However, there are some differences between it and audiobooks. Scribed offers audiobooks and more. They have ebooks, they have magazines, research papers, and sheet music. With a premium membership from Scribe, you can enjoy thousands of different audiobooks in different genres. You can also access short stories, essays, articles, and documents. And Scribe also offers original content that you can only get when you listen to with a Scribed membership. So both Scribed and Audible have some of their own titles. Now, the Scribed compatible devices would be any of your Apple devices, but it has to be iOS 9 or newer. This includes the Apple Watches. Android systems that are Android 4.4, and that's been around many years. So most likely, if you've got an Android phone, you should be fine. And any Kindle devices with Fire OS 4 or higher. This does not include the Paperwhite Kindle, however. Now, here's some comparisons between Scribed and Audible. The content, they both offer extensive library to listeners. Audible is a clear winner here because it offers basically every book for a price. If you're determined to listen to a specific book that just hit the shelves, Audible probably is right for you. If you're looking for more than audiobooks like magazines, then Scribe probably would be better. The download ownership is a significant difference. Audible is better if you want to keep your library forever. Scribed works more like Netflix, that once you cancel your subscription, you don't have access to the content any longer. As far as compatibility, both services work on most smartphones, which is what most people will use anyway. If we had to pick a winner, this was from an article that I got. They said Audible, but it's probably very similar. As far as the price goes, Scribed is a little bit cheaper, but both of them offer free trial periods and for you to try their subscriptions. Now, while I was doing the research on this, I came across something called Chirp, CHIRP, and it's chirpbooks.com. They offer audiobooks in a different way. They don't have a subscription, no subscription fees at all. You buy each book as you want to do it. You create a free account. You tell them what type of audiobooks you enjoy. You receive daily recommendations, and you can save up to 95%. You download their audiobook app for iOS or Android, and you stream the audiobooks immediately or download and listen to them offline. Here's a few of the titles, and you can see the prices where they would normally be $20 or $25 or $5. Some are as cheap as $3. And once you buy them, they are yours. And that's called Chirp. There are some other services out there, but these are the most popular. And if you're just getting started with audiobooks, why subscribe? Go ahead and use your library. Now, what I wanted to do was to do some examples of what the audiobooks sound like for those of you who have never listened to an audiobook. And I was concerned about copyright infringement, but I did find a really neat video prepared by somebody who coaches people on how to read for recording of audiobooks. And he put this together. The video he had it on YouTube. So YouTube doesn't allow just audio. So he stuck some pictures on there, but the pictures really don't go along with too much of what he's saying. So just kind of listen, close your eyes, and you'll get an idea of what's going on. So let's go ahead and take a listen. I better make sure I've got so you can hear that. Hang on one second. I need to share the sound. Now you should be able to hear it, and I'll go ahead and start it. Come on.
Hi, this is Pat Fraley. As I visit different regions around the country this year, teaching audiobook skills.
Whoops. Sorry about that.
And guiding talent into making audiobook narration book deals and making demos, I thought it might be of value for you to listen to some examples of wonderful narrators and get a sense of how their personal styles vary. It should be an encouragement to you to hear the varied styles which are needed for audiobook narration. So here goes. Here's the superstar of audiobook narrators, Scott Brick, reading an excerpt from What Makes Sammy Run by Bud Schulberg. There's nothing particularly unusual about Scott's voice. It's all about connecting with the listener and his storytelling abilities at unwinding that story. Also, Scott has the ability to give you the style of the piece. Notice how he takes on the feel of a 1930s or 1940s movie that's perfect for the book.
The first time I saw him, he couldn't have been much more than 16 years old. A little ferret of a kid, sharp and quick. Sammy Glick. Used to run copy for me. Always ran. Always looked thirsty. "Good morning, Mr. Mannheim," he said to me the first time we met. "I'm the new office boy, but I ain't gonna be an office boy long." "Don't say ain't," I said, "or you'll be an office boy forever." "Thanks, Mr. Mannheim," he said. "That's why I took this job, so I can be around writers and learn all about grammar and how to act right." 9 out of 10 times I wouldn't have even looked up, but there was something about the kid's voice that got me. It must have been charged with a couple of 1,000 volts. "So, you're a pretty smart little feller," I said. "Oh, I keep my ears and eyes open," he said. "You don't do a bad job with your mouth either," I said. "I wondered if newspaper men always wisecrack the way they do in the movies," he said. "Get the hell out of here," I answered. He raced out, too quickly, a little ferret. Smart kid, I thought. Smart little yid. He made me uneasy. That sharp, neat, eager little face. I watched the thin, wiry body dart around the corner in high gear. It made me uncomfortable. I guess I've always been afraid of people who can be agile without grace.
Now listen to Renee Rodman as she perfectly balances reading with embodying the characters with a reality in this excerpt from the young adult book, Wesley, The Story of a Remarkable Owl by Stacey O'Brien.
I was a little nervous about asking if I could bring an owl home to live with us, but she just smiled and patted her horse on the neck. "A barn owl? Won't he be a great addition to the family?" "Wendy," I said, "I'll have to keep dead mice in the freezer and cut up mice in the fridge. Would that be okay?" "Meat is meat," she shrugged. "I mean, a lot of mice, Wendy." "A lot of mice? How many is a lot?" "Well, probably thousands of mice as time goes by." "How long do barn owls live, anyway?" she asked. I'm not sure how long they live in captivity. Maybe up to 15 or 20 years. "Well, I think you should do it," she said. "It's the chance of a lifetime."
Here's an excerpt by Carrington McDuffie from Abiding Darkness by John Aubrey Anderson, where we hear her wonderful skill at doing some strong character work.
"Boy, he never called Mose anything else. There ain't never gonna be no drink better than coffee. 'Cept in heaven, I reckon." The frail old man nodded and spoke as he bent to put the cup by the rocking chair. "'Cept in heaven is right, boy. Gonna drink from the fountain that don't never run dry. A sure enough pure river of living water, clear as crystal, proceeding straight out of the throne. Now that's a drink to shame the best cup of coffee on the place."
Now, here's a sample from Kata Mazer, narrating from the Nanny Dyers. Kata is a stellar reader, but by her own admission, has a kind of vanilla voice. One of her greatest skills, and one that is sought after by producers and publishers, is her ability to connect to the listener by giving the impression she's reading to one person.
If there were any justice in the world, this is the point when all nannies should be given roadblocks and a stun gun. These rooms are destined to become the burden of my existence. From this point on, 95% of this apartment will be nothing more than a blurred background for chasing, enticing, and point-blank pleading with the child to put the Delft milkmaid down. I am also about to become intimate with more types of cleaning fluid than I knew there were types of dirt. It will be in her pantry, stocked high above the washer-dryer, that I discover people actually import toilet bowl cleanser from Europe. We arrive in the kitchen. It is enormous. With a few partitions, it could easily house a family of 4. She stops to rest one manicured hand on the counter, affecting a familiar pose, like a captain at the helm about to address the crew. However, I know if I asked her where she keeps the flour, a half hour of rummaging through unused baking utensils would ensue.
Here's my friend and wonderful actor, Richard McGonigal, who is fully capable of doing character voice work, but in this excerpt from Roosevelt and Churchill, Men of Secrets by David Stafford, Richard keeps to a rather dry read, almost reporting, which I think is perfect for the book.
Franklin Roosevelt learned of Hitler's attack on Western Europe late on the evening of 9 May 1940 in a telephone call from his ambassador in Belgium. Ensconced in his favorite red-leather armchair in the second-floor study of the White House, surrounded by his collection of maritime pictures and models of ships, he listened grimly to the news of simultaneous attacks by more than 100 German divisions on Belgium, Holland, Luxembourg, and France. 90 minutes later, the first reports began to filter in of bombs falling on Brussels, Amsterdam, and Rotterdam, and he stayed up until the early hours to digest them.
Here's Hillary Huber reading from Going to Bend. She has that skill of giving the listener the impression she's reading right to them. Also, Hillary is wonderful at making bold character choices.
While Petey diced 50 carrots, Rose read aloud from the weekly newspaper about old Billy Wall, who had just been indicted on sodomy charges. You know what I think? I think if he did what those kids say he did, the guy deserves to have a bad thing happen to him. I mean worse than shame and a jail term. I mean something bad. They should take him just like you'd take a carrot and peel him down real slow. You know, real careful. Layer by layer until you've got him peeled naked as an egg. And then you bring him to Hubbard Elementary and you lock him in the gym with 20 mothers with baseball bats. You put some Gatorade in there and some high-nutrition snacks and maybe have an alternate or two who can substitute when one of the women gets tired. She traded Rose the peeler for a paring knife. The son of a bitch.
Now here's an excerpt from Better Than I Know Myself by Virginia DuBarry and Donna Grant. It's read by one of our favorite readers, Lisa Renee Pitts. We hire her for all the books we have produced written by African-American authors. Listen to how Lisa Renee reads as if she becomes each character, including the author's narrator.
I wish they'd all go to hell. Carmen felt the throbbing bass of her brother's stereo vibrate the steel fire door as she shoved her key in the last of 4 locks. How you gonna throw that card down? She knew Z and some of the fools he hung with were in there, playing pinochle or dirty hearts, eating greasy egg rolls and pork fried rice.
Now here's Raven Kane reading from Jewel Plum Sykes' book, Bergdorf Blondes. Raven's voice and performance are just right for the material.
The Upper East Side wife I met is called Muffy. Apparently it was once a very popular name in Connecticut, where most Muffies were born, roughly in the middle of the last century. This Muffy, like all her neighborhood Muffies, says, "Ralph Lauren is my drug of choice." She's also addicted to Botox injections.
What book would benefit from your narration skills and style of reading? What is your personal style? I'll be near you to help. If you'd like to join these gainfully employed audiobook narrators, a schedule of when I'll be in your neck of the woods can be found at my website, patfraley.com.
Anyway, that's an ad for him, but it does give you a really good example of several different audiobooks. And I found that to be the best way to give you a taste of what audiobooks sound like. And it's kind of like if those of you who remember old time radio, you can picture in your mind what's going on. The voices, the inflections and everything are there to make it really stand out. Just like if when you're reading, your imagination does still go wild.
Hi.
Well, so I do have a short presentation after this, but Bob, let's go ahead. I'm going to stop the share and see if there's any questions from the audience.
Mike here. No, so far I've got no questions, Hewie.
Okay. Do you want me to go ahead and do my other presentation then? And maybe we'll have some questions at the end.
Sure.
People making comments, I hope?
Oh, absolutely.
Good. All right.
I didn't know, but somebody's listening to this on their Amazon Alexa.
Good. All right. So let me close this one out and bring up, you can't see this. And let me share. I don't think I have any audio with this, so I don't need to worry about that. And you should be seeing full screen here. Here we go. This is a pet peeve of mine. Peeve, I don't know what I would call it that, but I don't like people sharing too much information that they don't realize they're doing. And I started to write a short blog about this. And I said, you know, this would make into a better short presentation. So I did that. I call it, do not share too much information. I hope this isn't too technical for some of you, but if you get an email and there's a link there to a video or to a web page, and you just copy and paste it and give it to somebody else, a lot of times you're giving a lot of information about yourself away as well. And whoever clicks on that link is also sending your information back to where the article came from. As an example, well, let me preface that by saying, be careful when sharing links. They may contain information about you. Usually you copy and paste it and just into an email. But I say copy into some kind of an editor, Notepad or Word, whatever, something else. And then edit it by removing part of the link from the question mark on, and I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about. Then copy it again and then paste the link into the email or the article you're writing or whatever. And then also test the link before you share it to make sure that it works. Now, what do I mean? See this at the top? This is one long link to an article about the best seafood dives in Florida. At this question, right after the word Florida in the URL or the address is a question mark. After that, everything else here is information going back to that website, giving them some kind of information. It may be if you got the article from a newsletter that you subscribe to, it may be talking about the subscription. It may even have some personal information about you, so they can tell who is reading the article, or something about you, where you are, whether you're a customer or not a customer, and so on. And all this code, it's in here, and I grade some of it out so people couldn't just copy the information and have it, because it was my information. But all you have to do is delete everything in there. So I copied this whole thing, then I backtracked from the end of it all the way up to where that question mark is, went one more space where the slash is, and then I copy and pasted just this part right here. I think, I thought maybe I had put a circle around it, and I didn't. But anyways, that's all you really need to pass on to somebody else. And I checked it, and it still brought me to the same spot. Here's another example of that. This is an article about 50s TV shows from something called closerweekly.com. And again, all kinds of information after the question mark. And what I did is I just cut out that. I copy and pasted this into the email to send to somebody, or into an article that I wanted to share with other people on Facebook. And so they didn't get all the other information about me. So don't just copy and paste. Be selective, go through and look at what that link looks like and take out your information. Now, some of you also subscribe to newsletters that come from either Constant Contact, Mailchimp, and so on. So let's take a look about that. Be careful when you forward any kind of an email. Copy the email, paste it into a new email instead of just forwarding it, and then delete any references to you. And what do I mean by that? Well, at the bottom of a newsletter that's sent out by the Sarasota Technology User Group, they're using something called Constant Contact. And at the bottom of every article that's sent out, it's personalized to you or to whoever it goes to. And at the bottom, you can unsubscribe by clicking on this line, and it had my email address. Well, if I just forwarded that Constant Contact article or newsletter, anyone could click on that and they would unsubscribe me from the newsletter, and I don't want that. And then also who it was sent by in collaboration with Constant Contact. What I do is I take that whole area out. I copy and paste it, and then I delete that part so it doesn't get sent when I forward it on to somebody else. This whole part is what I take out. Here's something from Mailchimp. I use Mailchimp for my Windows Special Interest Group newsletter, e-newsletter that I send out once a month. And at the bottom of it, you will see it says you can update your preferences or unsubscribe from this list. Well, if I just forward that, that's going to have my name, or if you pass it on to one of your friends, it's going to have your name. If they click on that, they unsubscribe you from the list. So what you want to do is take out that whole area there and delete it before you send it to one of your friends, or before you post something on Facebook or Twitter or wherever else. So on that, we'll take some questions on either one of the presentations. Or if there's any questions you have about computers. This is a technology group, and you have me to answer. And of course, Bob and Diane are here too. So type them in the chat box. Bob will relay them to me if there are any questions.
I'm still, nope, not seeing anything, Hewie.
Okay, well, I hope that's good news and not bad news.
Yeah.
Bob, did you want to add anything? That's what I have.
No, I think that was great, Hewie. Good information there.
Okay, and you're planning on doing this again next month, and possibly with some, you're going to do some other virtual meetings throughout the month as well, correct?
Yes, that's true. Diana, you here? Are you with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Go ahead and turn on your camera so we can see you. And why don't you tell them what some of your plans are? Did I catch you off guard? I hope I didn't.
No. I hope you enjoyed tonight, and don't forget to check the thumbs up if you liked it, and the subscribe button to YouTube. We're going to be doing more and more of this type of thing, and after listening to the governor a little while ago, I don't know if he's going to allow us to open the computer club for a little while longer. I have had many people email me asking me when we're going to open up. That is not something we can decide as a club. We have to wait for Sun City Center, and they're waiting for a response from the governor. So be patient, people. We're here. We want to help you. If you have any ideas for a talk you'd like to have on this type of virtual meeting, please email either Bob or myself, and where you can see our emails in our newsletter, and ask away. And we thank you for attending. We miss you. We miss all of you. Thank you so very much.
And thank you for inviting me to be a part of this first meeting that you had. I hope everyone enjoyed it, got something from, learned something about audiobooks, and you can be searching away. And don't forget, your libraries also have a lot of other materials on computers and so on where you can get some help as well.
Excellent.
Bob, if there's nothing else, we can end the meeting. You can do what you need to do on your end.
Okay.
We thank everybody for attending and
Yes.
spending time with us tonight. And if everything works out, the recording of this should be available soon on YouTube as well. Same place where you're watching it.
All right. Well, goodbye, everybody. Thank you for staying with us.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.